And we're live. Cave Dweller, I was live. For the last 10 minutes, I was live on the countdown clock. As you can see here, this is my countdown clock. And we're live. And here we are. And when the countdown clock gets to here, I'm going to talk about current events. When it gets to here, I will talk about an anime review. And when it gets to here, I'm going to start wrapping things up on a long goodbye. Because it's going to take me a long time to say goodbye, Team Cave Dweller. Thank you for being here. I usually like having the clock in my face rather than behind my back because then I can see where I am in the middle of things. I forgot my theme song. I am he and you are we and three are she and come together. Be my neighbor today. Team Cave Dweller. How's it going? I'm taking my shirt off because I don't want to wreck this shirt. So you'll please excuse me for being informal. Okay, let's invoke the affectations. Senor Guadalupe. Oh, look what I can do now. Senor Guadalupe, may this candle to you be blessed and give us good luck during these times of hardship and annoyance and bring gifts of fame and prosperity. Red candle, symbolizing Ishu Legua, opener of the gates, Psychopomp, and Trickster, and also Saint Expedite. Saint Expedite, help us overcome our procrastination. Amen. Make us do it now. 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 Today. 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 We gotta get it done. There's no time. Did you hear what happened today? We'll find out in 15 minutes. Let's start today's work of art by removing this one that we've been looking at for the last 7 months without it changing. And let's look at this one. This exciting blank screen was once this. This is a sign I found in the trash. Well, actually, it wasn't in the trash. This is a sign that says, put litter in its place. And Milwaukee City of was posting these on, every street corner. And then they just left them there. They left them on the street corner to rot. They littered to fight litter. How else are you going to fight litter? With a shovel? That ain't happening. So grab your cup of coffee today, pour it in the Disco Jesus that you purchased at the Supermercado, and let us pray. Disco Jesus, may this coffee to us be blessed, and open your sacred heart of burningness and bring us into fruition. Amen. Now then, I have no idea what I'm going to put on this painting. I'm just starting this, and this is the part of the painting that is, we've got here's a new thing. I'm to invoke on the affectations. I'm offering them these dates and this cup of coffee. So, Senor Guadalupe and Saint Expedite, here's some treats for you. Out of many, one. Now then, let's get to work here. I am looking through these old books of these children's books, which are wonderful because they're full of these great illustrations. These are drawings. If you can get a close gander at that, well, maybe you could later. Here, look at this. This is a coin. These are coins. Let's see if I focus it. Boom. That's what happens, Daddy-O. I'm using a Rebel EOS for my close-up cam. For my junk cam, I'm using a good cam. For my good cam, I'm using a junk cam, which is, let's say, the one in my computer. Now, okay, let's get into focus again. Yes. Ow! Focus! Baby! Now I'm looking for things I can steal and copy. Bank vault and fishing hooks. The juxtaposition in these things is wonderful. Here is a famous painting of some saints. Here's a drawing. I like this guy. We'll put that guy in there. Stars. Anything good in stars? These drawings aren't that exciting. They're just kind of bland. There's a kid looking at the stars. Maybe we can put the kid in there? Nah, not that exciting. These are too unexciting. Motor trend. Okay, now we're talking turkey. We're going to put this car in here. This hot rod. Okay, Daddy-O. Do I have a? I don't have a clip. I had a clip, but now my clip is gone. All right, now my clip is gone. I'm sorry, I have no clip. So I'm going to use this Sharpie for the sake of expeditiousness. Thank you, Saint Expedite. Because I want you to see how I put this down, even though I don't recommend Sharpie, but theoretically it'll be covered by the painting. I don't know how it will react. I don't know how archival Sharpie is with acrylic. We don't even know how archival acrylic is. No acrylic painting has lasted more than 70 years. It was something invented in the 60s or as a artistic medium. We don't know how long it's going to last. We don't have anything from ancient times or even long ago times. So here we go. Let's put this card on. I like how things were rounded back then. Do you remember when a TV had a rounded thing like this? All right, this is straight up. And this wraps around. This goes straight out. Square, round, teeth. There's something interesting going on here. There's like a pole. Oh, all you kids with the pumped up kicks. What are you gonna do? Alright, so that's that. This is this. Wheel. Within wheel. Within wheels. Okay, Ezekiel. Just doing a quick drawing here. This drawing actually should be quicker. I should be doing a quicker drawing, but I chose to belabor it for whatever reason. Okay, that's not bad. And I'll use this as reference later for the actual painting part. Oh, you're welcome. I try to be generous. And I hope you understand that I'm speaking to you when I say that. I have no idea when you made the comment on the feed. One thing I love about live streaming is that Disco Jesus is always with you. And as Disco Jesus, so are you, Cave Dweller. And that's why I love it. We can have an interaction, an exchange of ideas. Although, there's a larger delay in this than there is if you would just call me from the opposite side of the planet, or even the moon. Because I'm not paying attention. I have my back to you. Which I learned in Toastmasters is something you should avoid. Avoid having your back to the audience. You might think it's obvious that you don't have your back to the audience. And you might even think that you don't have your back to the audience. But, oh, I can assure you, you do. Every time you turn around. Now then, let's get back on the show on the road. We're putting this kid in here. I like this kid because of his attitude. He's got some kind of attitude. You can't even see it with those weird shadows. You can see it, there we go. And his face is both profile and front view. I got this idea from the Greeks. The Greeks. The ancient Greeks. I steal art from everybody, and I have respect for none. Your copyright, ancient Greeks, is expired. Now then, let's put the kid in here. My drawing of the kid will not be as... I'm just going to do it as fast as possible because the faster the drawing, the more dynamic it will be. See, I can already see that it's crazy. My Sharpie is skipping all over the place. It's catching up on the... Right, this is hair. Hair today, gone tomorrow. It's the fate of man. There we go. A kid leaning on his car. Half-assedly. A half-assedly drawn kid leaning on his car. But that's what I love. And it's not because I'm using half my ass. It's because resources are constrained. Excuse me. The aesthetic of half-assery is maximum output under extreme constraint. I should have a new name. I should have a more positive and enticing name than the aesthetic of half-assery, but my vocabulary is constrained. So you will have to forgive my half-assery aesthetic of name of my aesthetic. Kid. Let's give him green pants. Oh wait, no. First thing first, we'll do the car. Oh, this is where I can use my skills. Here's one skill you can always try, cave dwellers. You do your painting, start your painting in black and white. I never do this. This is a new thing for me. Starting it in black and white, and then you do a layer of color on top. So you might, this white over here, this is from 2 days ago and it's still wet. That never happens. Wait, okay, maybe it's not that wet. It doesn't seem to be mixing very well. It's just soft. Soft but not wet. Soft apparently is not wet. Okay, let's add some new paint. And we will leave the soft paint in the old paint. I mean the new paint. Leave the soft paint in the old new paint. What am I saying? I don't even know what I'm saying. Alright, here we go. Mixing it in. Because it's soft, it's like bouncing a rubber ball. It's not spreading around. That's going to be weird to paint with. But let's do it. Someday, kid brother, you notice I have the 2-camera setup today. It's my first day doing a 2-camera setup. I have to reach over my camera, over my wires, up to my laptop, and I have to hit this button to do it. And it's a little awkward. It's a little weird, and I have to turn my back to see what time it is. You know, I'm going to move that clock right now. I have to turn my back to see what... Oh, my setup. My beloved setup. Okay, let's see if we can get something done here before current events time. Add a little water to this. Add some water to this. Just to smear the color around, mind you. Mind you. Mind you the color. You know what I'm saying? Here's a kid leaning on a car. Okay, so this comes down. There's a darkness. Oh, this comes through here, like so. That's cool. Comes around like that. And there's one that comes like this to a light. And there's one that comes like this. Alright. And there's this. Kind of like a hair lip. Give him a gray shoe. And one more blackness. Because I never do this, don't know what I'm doing. I'm just winging it. And I hope it's going to turn out. Okay, so there's a... Need more black. This is Mars black. the darkest of all blacks. It's darker than your soul. Oh, I got Friday. I really need somebody to be my mixing boy. Yeah. This goes like so. This is black. This is black. It goes around like this. And this is black. Alright. You know what time it is, Cave Dweller? It's time for current events. Current events. I just learned today that the Dow took a dump. The stock market took such a plunge today that it has never been seen in the history of the United States and or the world. The plunge that it has taken. So get on your windowsill and get ready to defenestrate because all hope is lost. We saw this coming. The first thing that could go wrong during the lockdown, when they shut down businesses, what do you think is going to happen? The economy is based on the constant movement of money. You shut that down, and things start to fail. And they fail one after the other, like dominoes. That's it. It's over. It's the end of the world. It's the end of God. It's the end of everything. You might as well just put all your puppies in a sack and throw them in a river. Spare them the misery. Ugh. This good Jesus, help us. In this crisis, this morning, I had a moment of terror, and I could only think of Commandi, Planet of the Apes, Logan's Run, things like that. Road Warrior, mostly Road Warrior. And I thought, as an artist, how am I going to fit into this new economy of brute force and power dynamics and plundering and farming? And I realized I really don't have anything to contribute. So when the torches come, get that bucket of water ready. Oh, but in my moment of terror, I realized, every time I'm terrified, I turn to Jesus. So as much as I try to invoke the affectations and bring in other gods into my life, it always just comes back to my hodgepodge Jesus, my non-textual Jesus. Because according to the biblical text, really, if you study it, you find out, maybe Jesus didn't even exist. All this stuff, these are fabrications, these are fictions. And if you were at my MFA thesis show, you'll know that fiction is not fake. A link to that. Fiction does not mean fake. It just means fictitious. Washington threw $1 across the Delaware. Fictitious. But it illustrates something. It shows how heroic George Washington was. So, all the gods, they're all real, they're all fictional, including Jesus, and it's just the one I turn to is Jesus, and when I say hodgepodge, I mean I put everything on him. So why is it even Jesus? I'll just say God from now on. And anyway, I don't even like to talk about Jesus because the Jesus that has been fictionalized in our contemporary society is this namby-pamby hippie. He's just this wimpy guy, who doesn't really do anything. No proactivity. No agency, and all my life believing in Jesus was just a way to remain in helplessness. In fact, they even tell you to remain in helplessness often. This is not what you think it is. This is a huge thing of kombucha. Anyway, so when I say my weird hodgepodge of Jesus includes the wrath of God and the justice. I just combined God from the Old Testament into Jesus. That gives me more comfort than the doe-eyed, long-haired nut job who's like talking about love all the time. Love. What good has that ever done anybody? It's like love is the excuse everybody uses to enslave their children. Except my dad. My dad didn't use that excuse at all. He just run off. He just done run off. Now then, let's get back to the painting. That was current events. Now we're getting back to the painting. The kid with the green pants. You know, the trouble with these things is they don't really turn me on. This painting isn't turning me on. There's something about the attitude of this kid. He's got a hot rod. But what's he doing? What's his purpose? What if... Got one of those puffy jackets. He's throwing his key in the air like that. I might be able to do something with that. Oh, there's a color I wanted to try. I was looking at the sky yesterday. I was looking at the clouds, and there was a cloud. There was a layer of clouds that was purple. No. It was blue that was just slightly purple. So I'm going to try to recreate that on my palette here. I don't know if you'll be able to tell what's going on here because this is such a mess. I didn't have time to clean it. I was spent all morning trying to figure out how to use two cameras and use this Canon EOS Rebel T3i as part of the situation. Total overkill! But that's alright. Hey, I got a comment. Have I always been comfortable with the half-ass style, or did you have to work toward it? That question, Cave Dweller, is, I feel, a backhanded insult. But let me tell you, I am just working with what I got. I don't have the ability to plan or organize. I can only wing it and fly by the seat of my pants, and that leaves me usually scrambling for what I have at hand. So I discovered the aesthetic of half-assery in graduate school when I started doing 2.5D works made out of cardboard. 2.5D is a nonsense term created by my professor, but I love it because it's a nonsense term. She used it because she's inarticulate. A better way would just be bas-relief. You can just say bas-relief. So I was hacking up cardboard and peeling layers of cardboard off and into shapes and pinning them to a wall. And I realized I could create with nothing, which is what I'm doing now. I'm creating live video with no talent. So the answer to your question is yes. Have I always used the aesthetic for half-assery, or did I have to work at it? Yes, I've always had it, I discovered it, and now I work to perfect it. Let's get back to mixing paint. That's why you're here, I know, to learn how to mix paint. Let me see. So I'm going to use ultramarine blue. Goddess blue. This is Goddess blue, also known as ultramarine blue. This is ultramarine violet, which is what I'm not going to use. I'm going to use dioxazine purple because it's more powerful. Oh, and it was a white that was saturated with, it was desaturated gray, but it was light desaturation. So that means white. When you're light is not a function of white unless you're talking about the color gray, in which case white is definitely a function of the color white. So using this light gray and this blue, this Goddess blue, mix this up. Can you see what's going on there? I hope so. So that's a sort of, this blue is almost too gray, but it might be perfect. I have like a panic dysphoria. I see things that, I only see 6 colors, and if something deviates from that, I start to panic. But I think that'll be perfect. This is dioxazine purple. So you just want, I'm using purple and not red because I want, when I say it's skewing purple, what I'm saying is it's actually skewing red. But by using purple, that gives me that helps me fine tune the red, if you know what I'm saying. It's a smaller step than jumping right to red. This needs a little more. That might be too much. That's like a dab the size of my pinky nail. But it might be too potent. Skrauss and that goddess blue on the bottom. I'm going to put some more white in here, I think. That's pretty good. The thing I saw in the sky was just blazing. It was just blazing. It was so wonderful. I think the way to achieve that is going to be mixing. See, this is too purple. I have to make this bluer. The way to achieve that, I think, is going to be painting on white with transparent blue. This is phthalo blue, which is the most powerful of all blues. Dang it, I put the thing in my thing in the wet. It happens all the time. I gotta. Before this wet paint ends up on my clothing, I have to wipe it off. This is why I paint with acrylics, because paint migrates. And if it stays wet forever, it migrates farther, faster, better, stronger than it was before. This is more like it. I should have used phthalo blue to begin with, because goddess blue is desaturated. Let's see. Okay, now I gotta add purple. Ooh. Okay, bro, this is why it's so hard. And all I'm trying to do is paint. I don't even know what I'm trying to paint anymore. What did I want this color for? It's giving me such a pain. There we go. Now we're talking. The trouble with phthalo blue is that now it's purple again. Well, I don't know. I guess my memory of the cloud is just going to be staying in the cloud. You know what I'm saying? All right. So now I forgot why I mixed up this color. His jacket. Okay, let's pretend it's his jacket. I can tell I didn't wash this brush last time. It's crusty. I'm painting on a corrugated piece of corrugated plastic. It's the type of thing you make a sign out of. And it's stiff enough to hang in your living room, but it's not quite stiff enough to paint on. It's too much flex. And it goes up to here, his jacket. Okay, everyone. It's almost time for an anime review. Anime! It's my favorite kind of TV. My favorite kind of TV is actually the Croft Super Show and BBC from the 70s. That is, Doctor Who and stuff from the 70s. The Tomorrow People. But anime is pretty cool too. In fact, let's just do it right now. Let's just do the anime right now as this waits. Anime, Team Cave Dweller, is so great. I have another question. This is comments are not stopping. More curious how you would recommend a perfectionist how to work toward letting go of that. Cave Dweller, I will get to your question after the anime review. But let's talk about anime for a second. Let's focus on the greatest form of art on earth, this painting. And from this painting, let's move back into anime. Anime is something Netflix has decided they will produce. And in so producing, and they have done very many, and it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing to bring more anime into the world. I love anime because it's Japanese animation contains a subtlety not found in any other animation. In fact, Disney, everybody who goes to Disney and learns the Disney School of Animation learns a theory called squash and stretch. And you can see it in their work. Everything looks like Play-Doh. Things are bouncing and distorting in shape. The Japanese do this a little bit too, but it's subtler and it's done with movement, not with distortion. So you'll see a face get flat and wide. They go down before they burst up out of their chair, right? Squash and stretch. It's an exaggeration to show movement. And you don't need it. It's totally unnecessary. But it's a school that people learn. It's an idea that people learn from the Disney school, and then they think it has to be that way. And so all cartoons are made out of Play-Doh and exaggerated, and then the voices are exaggerated. So I was watching this thing called DC Superwomen, or I don't know, but it was like all the DC Comics superheroines banding together in high school. And I can't watch it because it's just frantic. Every time they have an emotion, it's over the top. And Wonder Woman acts out of character. She like goes insane for chocolate desserts, and it just, I was like, what? She's a princess from Paradise Island. She's the princess of the Amazons, and she's going insane over chocolate. That's totally beneath her. So I couldn't stand the exaggeration. I couldn't stand the break in character. I couldn't watch it. They do have that hyper emotive caricatures, the exaggerations in Japanese things as well. But I love it because they go even further. So they don't just stop at frantic activity. Oh no, they change the character into like a little piece of dough with a face that it has no features on it except 2 slits for an eye. It doesn't even look like a human being or even an animal. I'm thinking specifically of a thing called The Magi, which is, I believe, made for Netflix. You can find it on Netflix. First episode, you meet the character. He's basically Aladdin. He has a magic carpet that he wears as a turban, and he has a flute that when he plays calls forth a genie, and then with no head, and he rides around on top of the shoulders of the genie like he's controlling a giant robot. So right there, it's so cool because it's so imaginative. The giant robot motif, but now it's a genie. Kid rides on top of it like it's Mecca. But when you first see him, he's eating watermelons on the back of a truck, and he's distorted into this weird devouring being. But it's not meant to be literal. It's figurative. So that's one thing. And then the subtlety, they go from that over-the-top exaggeration to, and sometimes just another example is drawing the number sign in somebody's head. That is actually a symbolization of the veins sticking out in anger. And then they'll put it stranger, so it appears on the face of a character when they're angry and yelling, and stranger is when it appears on the back of their head, right? Or on an inanimate object. And a sweat bead when you're nervous, back of the head, inanimate object. Top half of the face shaded means either you're sick or you're deeply embarrassed. Hash lines, or even in color, they put that cross-hatching on the cheeks, and it means slight embarrassment. But then they do subtlety that's just wonderful to watch. There was in Kuro Makuro, there's a debate in the cafeteria. One character asks the main character, "Why are you even fighting? Why are you even here? You're not taking it seriously." And the character goes, "Watashi." Watashi is I. She puts her fingers together and looks to the side and just says, "I," and then they move on. Things like that happen all the time. It's wonderful. So, the one I wanted to talk to you about, I'm at the 5-minute mark, is, I'm watching it right now, I'm almost done. It's called The Dragon Riders. And the design of the characters has more of an American feel. That is, the way they look. They don't look so Japanese. Because Japanese animation, they have the stereotype, like all the heroes have the same face. You know, Speed Racer looks just like, I don't know, the guy from Kuro Makuro, like, for instance. But there's that, and the backgrounds are just impressionistic washes on paper. And you can actually see the texture of the paper. It's so great. And then later on they bring in side characters that are temple dancers, and they look very Japanese. Their eyes are smaller, right? Narrower. How can we describe it now without everybody getting up in arms? And they add a new dimension to the story. I'm really loving Dragon Riders. It's got a sophistication that Kuro Makuro, for instance, doesn't have, although that's very sophisticated compared to that stupid DC Comics thing. Or even any American television show. Takes place on an airbase. They fly dragons that are disguised as airplanes. and you have to bond with your dragon, and if you fall in love, you lose the bond and you become toxic to the dragon. So, the main character finds the dragon and she's coming into her own, right? So there's the Bildungsroman of becoming powerful, becoming an adult, and the complication is she falls in love and then she loses it. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to resolve. I haven't seen them all. But the point where she realizes that she's fallen in love, one of the teenager from the group of Japanese-looking, and their eyes, normally the eyes are bigger than the face, but these eyes are actual realistic in a caricature that you might see. Oh, you know what I'm getting at. So one of those characters tells her, it's the same thing. My love for blah, blah, is just like yours. After the main character just described, I love the way he talks. I love the way he smokes to cover up for having a baby face. And the character says, that's love. And she's like, what? What? And then she just runs. And then starts screaming. Ah! And then you pull back and you see the whole air base and hear her screaming. Ah! It was so hilarious. And that's such a great, unexpected reaction. The Dragon Riders, I highly recommend it. It's full of unique turns. Dragon Riders. That's our anime review for today. I hope you find it enticing, and I hope you don't binge too much on Netflix, or if you do as much as you can, because it's all going down the tubes, all 50 of them. Jay's Corner, he says, Jay, anime is so epic though, and that's, back to the anime review, that's absolutely true. Anime is often epic in the literal sense, as in a saga. The character starts out, he's nothing or she's nothing, and they grow to become this. The world just keeps exploding. Starts in school, ends up in space, in a battle for the whole planet. That's exaggeration, but it's a caricature, but it's along those lines. Literally epic. Dragon Riders is not an epic, but it's dynamic. I encourage you to watch it. Now then, question. How would I recommend a perfectionist to work toward letting go of perfectionism? The easiest way to let go of perfectionism is to challenge yourself to draw something as fast as you can, and draw it from memory. For instance, sit down, divide a piece of paper, 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, into 4 boxes, or 8 boxes. You can fold it up 4 or 8 boxes, either one. Each one of those panels becomes a plane for a separate drawing. Set a timer for 30 seconds, or for 1 minute, draw Batman. Set it for 30 seconds, draw Batman. Set it for 10 seconds, draw Batman. Set it for 5 seconds, and draw Batman. On the top 4. Batman, 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 Batman. In fact, this is a painting that I did based on a 5-second drawing of Batman. Start there. And then do that with other characters out of the top of your head. Do it with Jesus. Do it with your parents. Do it while looking at something. Draw something in 1 minute. Draw something in 5 seconds. The difference is dynamic in those drawings, first of all. In 5-second one brings the ideogram into reality. It brings the thought, what's essential, into the drawing. And it brings it alive. So the extreme constraint is time. So you're going to maximize your results with extreme constraint. You have to be energetic. I recommend you use 1 line to draw it when you're doing 5 seconds. Start there, and then see what happens. And then you can take it into other areas. So there you go. Now then, let's get back to painting. Key is yellow. This is Aurelian yellow. It's a yellow that I don't often use because I don't know what it is. It's a mixture, and I don't like that. I got it for $5. You can see it was on clearance. And I guess I shouldn't have done that. If you can mix it, the only time... Well, there's a reason to use... Okay, here it is. Cave drawing. There's straight pigments, and then there's mixtures of pigments. Anything that's a mixture will say hue, like cadmium. Cadmium red hue versus cadmium red. When do you use one, when do you use the other? Use cadmium red hue when you're using it straight out of the tube. Use cadmium red when you're going to mix. Now then, here we go. Oh, let's go back to this. Drawing, I'm putting in the key. This is a nice, I can just do this actually. This is a nice transparent color. I like it. I'm using it straight out of the tube because it's huge. Alright. What's next? Let's do his pants. What color am I going to use on his pants? He's probably wearing blue jeans because he's a greaser. Okay, well, let's put it in his hair. Base layer of phthalo blue for his hair. And this will be the highlights. I'm going to put the dark color in later. So this, I drew this kid really fast, and his sideburn here got really wide. I was going to compare this to the drawing. In the drawing, you see that, haha, focus, bam. Alright, his drawing looks more naturalistic here. I mean, his hair looks more naturalistic, or more like hair you would see in the world. Can you see that far away? It's the blue thing in the middle. I've elongated it, and his sideburn is here. It's, and the ear, for instance, is more normal, and here the ear is gigantic. Let's put in his skin tone so that you can really see what we're looking at. I'm going to use this thing that I was gifted. Somebody gave me a gift of their acrylic paints when they moved. This is something I would never buy, light portrait pink. You can just use white and orange. There's no need for this. Not even right out of the tube, but here I am using it right out of the tube. I mean, might as well. Oh, here. This is what it looks like on my palette. Oh, you gotta focus again. Yes. Oh, this adds complications. Bloop, 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 bloop. One thing I love, I gotta tell you, about Dragon Riders, the main character, the dragon comes out of a pool and she's sad, blah, 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 for whatever reason, and it licks her, and the tongue is like as big as her whole body. And then there's like big globs of, looks like mucus on her, but it's just spit, and she's surprised, and the guy she falls in love with is the caretaker of the dragon. And he says to her, the dragon wants you to feel better. He doesn't want you to be sad. And she's like, oh! And then she falls in love with the dragon even more. She jumps on its snout, and she licks him back. And you see her tongue flicking out as she's licking the dragon, and you hear the noise of... It's so great. Now then, here's the ear. So wonderful. And she keeps doing it. She keeps licking the dragon and making that sound. It's the greatest thing ever. I wonder if the actress... Oh, speaking of the actress, here's the face. So when Americans act, and I always watch anime with subtitles, never with dubs, because the voices are wrong. Americans just don't know how to inflect to match the culture. Japanese people are quiet and subtle. One of my favorites, the final lines, one of my favorite anime is, the anime is Gunbuster, and they save the universe at light speed. They come back to Earth, and it's 15,000 years later, because they had to travel to the center of the galaxy. And they get back, to them it's just a few months. They get back, and they ditch the Gunbuster, which has been the heroic mecha they've been driving this whole time, and ditch it in space. It's breaking down. And they go to Earth. And the main character goes, Sayonara, Gunbuster. And it's a sayonara, Gunbuster, or goodbye. And it's this eloquent farewell that sums up all the emotions. Makes me want to cry right now just talking about it. But an American can't do that. We're almost out of time. Okay, so now can you see it? We got hands and we have a guy's face. Let's make I'm going to put this blue that I mixed up earlier for his jacket and mix it with some darker blue. Or not darker, but I'm mixing it with the phthalo blue that's on my palette. And some water. I'm going to apply this to the windshield. I got a schmutz of gray on there. Interesting. So I like all the blues that are appearing. I mentioned earlier, I have trouble that I only see 6 colors. I think in 6 colors, primary colors and secondary colors. And to me, a tertiary color, like an orange, yellow-orange, is really just orange, you know, right? So I can't plan them. Like maybe another painter could. I couldn't plan these 3 different blues. I don't have much more to say about that, but so that's why I usually put, as like you can see in this painting, every color under the sun. It usually works against me. So for blue jeans, this character's blue jeans, I'm going to add this burnt. I really need to use this up because the tube is breaking and that'll be no good. I could transfer it to a new tube, I guess. I might do that. And so I'll add phthalo blue, most powerful of all blues, to this, and mix it up and see what I get. I should add some white too, because blue jeans are sometimes white-ish. They're certainly not as dark as that's going to be. Adding white helps you see the color. If you think of a Seurat painting, that's that painting that was made out of all the dots. That's called pointillism. And that color, he created color by juxtaposing, that is, setting colors next to each other. Look at this. This is a beautiful color. And what I'm doing right now is literally the same thing. I'm setting microscopic particles of pigment next to each other. That's all I'm doing. I'm not actually creating a new color. This just looks like a new color. I'm not creating a new color. It just... Here. Can you hear me better? I'm not creating a new color. It just looks like a new color. I think that is somewhat profound. Thanks, Jay's Corner. I'm glad I could give you a nice review. Alright, why did I mix this color? What was I going to do with this? Jeans, blue jeans. Wow, this is beautiful. I love this. Maybe I should make this whole painting, color blue should be in every color on this painting. Yeah. I totally got to do that. Now then, what is up here? Oh, it's got, this car has those kind of seats that they don't make anymore. And you see that in here, there's, it's a bench seat. It's a bench seat. They don't make those anymore. So I'll put that in. With this, well, I should make it even lighter to differentiate it from the pants. Man, I gotta tell you, that's what I love about the Japanese, the combination of subtlety and over the top. Gunbuster, the one that ends with Sayonara, Gunbuster. It's almost poetic. It ends with that, but it begins with giant robots doing push-ups. All right, yeah, this stands out more. How does that... So it goes like this, and it goes down. Always be careful of how things overlap. If they overlap wrong, it throws the space off. It causes space to distort. Believe it or not, psychologically. In the viewer's mind. love the way this. I love where this is going. And I wish I could get more done for you, but because I don't plan, because I can't. I don't have the mind that plans and knows what to do. I'm winging it, and I'm also talking to you. Oh, I got plenty of time. All right, so let's put in here. Let's put another foot on him, though. I mean, he needs another foot, right? He can't just go around with 1 foot. I thought it would be cool if he had 1 foot, but he's got to have more than 1 foot. Way too dark. Give him a belt. What? The camera just did a noise. Oh. I'm about to lose my close-up camera due to battery outage. That's interesting. It's very interesting that it's going to be like that. It's going to be doing that to me. Well, now we know. You live and you learn. You learn by living. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so, not tasty. And probably toxic. I'm looking at the way things go here. There's a lot of dynamic lines inside this wheel. Wow, the colors here are great. Great! Huh. I loved it. Oh man! Every time she licked the dragon, I cracked up. It was the greatest thing I'd ever seen and heard. It's a combination of absurdity and a delightful sound effect, and it made the character endearing. I'm sorry, the anime review is over, but I just can't get over it. It's just so great. Makes me wish I could do that. Come up with a wonderful thing like that. Let's do some darker than black. There is a thing that is darker than black, and it is black. I'll have you know that most of the things that you call black are actually really just gray. The thing that is darker than black is a thing that does not reflect light. That is to say, it's totally black. Butterflies and birds and flowers activate this. It's camouflage. It's camo. I just learned about that yesterday on a podcast called Something Physics Something. I thought it was so fascinating that I thought I'd tell you about it. It has to do with not color, but the loss of reflectivity. The flatter an object is, the more it reflects. the more surfaces it has, the more it scatters light. So a butterfly's wings and a bird's wings and flowers have little hairs that scatter the light. Pretty cool, eh? Here, look at that wheel again. All right, Cave Dweller, I've got 5 minutes. I'm wrapping it up. I'm sorry, that's all we get for the demonstration today. In Skrauss Live, you listen, and I hope this has been safe at work. I hope you had friends gather around. Here I am, there you are, we're together naturally. Come together, over me, over my dead body, over the sea. Cave Dweller, I want to tell you that you can find me at imageforhire.com, _Skrauss at Instagram and Twitter, and Patreon, _Skrauss. And I recommend that right now on YouTube you hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get alerted so you know I'm alive, and like, comment, and share. And together, we will put this show into the stratosphere of awesome. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. And with that, I've reached awkwardly over all my equipment, and I stopped streaming. I love you, Cave Dweller.